Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are gonna be continuing the narration and character voice acting for the side story CATASTROPHES or Wakes of Vultures. And as always, to anybody who is bumping into the narration through this very episode, the playlist for this whole thing is in the description of the video at the very top, so just hit it and enjoy from the beginning. And also thank you very much for all the likes and the comments left on the previous episode, as always, much appreciated, and views of course as well. All of that is helping out a lot in the algorithm, as I always say, so thank you very much. Alright, but as always we are gonna do the quick recap here at the beginning, so for those of you who wanna skip that, as always the timestamp is downstairs in the comment section in the pinned comment, just hit it and you will be right at the beginning of today's part. But first, on the previous part. Well then, last time we began pretty much the story with Liskarm and Franka in the bank, receiving a sort of briefing from the bank manager about what she wants them to do in the city, and the two of them are not the happiest about that. In the meanwhile, Jessica runs into into Leon's younger son Benny, who was about to be kidnapped by two thugs who were seemingly sent by the bank just to pretty much put pressure on Leon to pay back his debts. However, Jessica shoos them away and escorts Benny back to the diner. Back at the diner at Helena's, she discovers that Leon could be scot-free of his debts, but only if he would get rid of his shares in the local mine, which Benny says that will never happen. But Jessica starts to devise a plan. And the plan was pretty much simple: go and ask Woodrow for help. And after getting some chocolates and Jessica seeing some interesting pictures in a drawer where she leaves the chocolates in, he agrees and goes with her to Leon. However, at Leon's, he does seem not to do anything at first, but he does a very sneakily little thing with the fireplace in Leon's house, which pushes everybody to have some second thoughts, and at the crux of it, Leon does decide to actually go and do it, to get rid of his shares and be debt-free. However, at the bank, Jessica does hear from Sylvia that not everything is covered with that. A couple of thousand are still out and about and need to be covered with some kind of cash, and Jessica decides to help Leon out without Leon knowing that she's lending him money. Pretty much keeping it hush-hush. Meanwhile, later at the diner, Helena and Woodrow are having a little moment where they just casually talk with each other, but suddenly the water pipes in the diner burst, causing some pretty serious damage, and Helena decides to take the insurance that she has for the diner and go to the bank to, get her insurance money for it. But as she discovers at the bank, they are pretty much strictly telling her that, to them rather, it seems that she could have just caused the damage herself, and that they cannot just pay her the money unless she can prove that she was not, or someone else, responsible for doing so. Which obviously makes her very pissed off, and she leaves in anger. Back at the diner, Jessica and Helena talk about what transpired, and Jessica offers Helena to pay the money that she is owned by the bank. Helena accepts, but Jessica is a bit heartbroken that, well, she cannot really do anything besides just throw money at them. Later in the evening, pretty much everybody gathers in the diner as they are celebrating Jessica's help, rather that she pretty much helped everybody in the diner. At that point, somehow, Woody, Helena, Jessica, Miles, Leon, and Benny all gather and have dinner together. Everybody is merry, everybody is singing, enjoying some reminiscing in old times, but all of that merry time does get broken up when at one point Benny breaks the news to his father and tells him that he plans to leave the city, which sends his father quite down a spiral of depression, as you can tell. Just at the peak of, hey, everything is fine, no, everything is not fine anymore, as life goes. Benny and Jessica leave after that, and she offered to escort Benny, at least partially, to the to pretty much the bus stop where the convoy from another city will pass through and pick him up and take him to another city, as he is pretty much leaving on the spot. But along the way, they do talk about some stuff, and Jessica discovers that Benny's older brother who passed away was once upon a time a Blacksteel mercenary. They did send some stuff from him back, and Jessica knows him actually personally, as she has served with him on a mission back in Chernobog, where the young man lost his life. However, the stuff that was sent back without a certain silver ring that the young man by the name of Carl had with him. However, unbeknownst to them, the ring that they both believe could have been just lost somewhere is still in Davistown. It is in possession of Sylvia, who carries the ring around her neck on a necklace, and he pretty much seems to have been once upon a time Carl's lover, as she still clutches the ring fondly, giving herself courage through it. 2 weeks after that, the landship of Blacksteel is about to arrive. The personnel of Blacksteel that are in the city are preparing for the imminent arrival, and just as they are freezing their butts off out in the open, waiting for the landship to come, they do notice that fires have suddenly broken up out in Davistown, and Jessica rushes back to see what is happening and help as much as she can. Along the way, she notices that the house that Leon owns is on fire, but luckily Leon was spared because he spent the night out somewhere drunk in the street. The other two, Woody and Helena, are cornered by some thugs in the diner, but the two of them are fighting back, as they are no slouches. Meanwhile, the bank folk are pretty much okay. They have nothing to fear, because they are the ones who gave the go-ahead for the bandits to plunder and get whatever they can before the landship arrives. Unbeknownst to anybody, as they all expected the landship to arrive a day after this one, the landship is already there, as a horn can be heard in the distance in the fog, and a giant black landship emerges from the fog, and in that one CG just looks like a predator that is hunching over its prey. And that is pretty much where we left off. The landship is here, so let's see how nutty this becomes, right? So then, today we will be covering the story for the stages number 5, 6, and 7. We're just gonna do story, there will be breaks in between, because every stage introduces a new enemy, and yeah. Let's begin on stage number 5, titled Shadow of a Doubt. Communication will always involve misunderstandings, and life will always move in unwanted directions.
Two people died during the unrest, 4 are seriously wounded, dozens more have lighter injuries, 13 shops and homes were looted, and small fires broke out in parts of Main Street. Fortunately, our squad managed to quickly bring the situation under control. Currently, we have mercenary teams stationed in the plate's most important facilities and main roads to maintain public security and order. Should I stop my report?
Let's pause here for now.
Then if you'll excuse me, I'll come back in once you're done with your call.
No need. You can listen in.
Apologies for calling this late, Mr. Cliff. We've put the reserve funds in storage, and I'd like to thank everyone for escorting them all this way.
No need to thank us for fulfilling our contract. Also, I'd rather discuss what comes next, the towing, in person.
When will you be free? Tomorrow at noon?
Sure, I'll have my secretary arrange it.
I'd also like to ask another question if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I'm wondering, how do you plan to handle the townsfolk who participated in last night's unrest?
We've detained the ones we've caught on the landship for the time being, and we are currently tracking down the rest.
Those thugs were already giving us a headache. They're in dire straits financially, and now they've turned to robbing others.
You sound pretty familiar with them.
Yes, they're all old acquaintances on the bank's debtor list.
Mind if we take a look at that?
Of course not. If you're going to look into the matter, you should start with these people. Thanks for bringing him over last night, Jessica. Is Leon alright? Benny's gone, and then his house. The one thing he had left burned down in that fire. He didn't say anything. Fell asleep as soon as I treated his wounds.
He's lucky he spends his nights getting wasted on the streets instead of sleeping in bed.
That's enough out of you, buddy. Fine, I'll go check on him.
Jessica, weren't you outside welcoming the landship yesterday? Why'd you come back all of a sudden?
Actually, Woodrow, I was looking for you, but I saw smoke coming from Leon's house, so I went there first.
For me? For what?
Ever since I got here, I've been worrying non-stop about the landship's arrival.
But that's your company, meaning a good thing. Now you've got an entire fortress of your bodies to take over any problems you all have been facing.
But that doesn't mean Blacksteel being here will be good for the people of the plate. Nomadic platforms are expensive to build and an extremely scarce resource, so the government won't just discard them. They'll probably refurbish the plate, upgrading it and integrating it into a larger settlement.
Still not seeing the downside.
But they don't want the residents to stay, so they are doing everything they can to make them leave on their own. That's why the bank's here. They've recovered a lot of the fallen platform's assets through loan contracts and risky ventures, and they've sent a lot of people to the frontier too. Methods like these are perfectly legal. There's nothing for us to object to.
Are the people really gonna take it though?
Maybe they don't have a choice? They've been here You've been here a lot longer than I have, so I'm sure you know better than I do.
We still have a few tough nuts to crack.
Which is why they've engaged a mercenary group like Blacksteel. And what about after you undoubtedly thorough investigation, do you plan to keep the detainees at Fort Barren?
I may as well ask how you've dealt with them in the past.
We used to ship guys like them off to the frontier when we still had police.
Then we'll do the same.
Thank you for doing all this for us.
It's no big deal. Looking forward to our meeting tomorrow.
Hold on, could I make a small request? Could we have additional security deployed at the bank?
No problem. I'll have my subordinates make any further arrangements.
Right. See you tomorrow then.
What do you think, Tilla?
That we're getting our hands dirty again.
What else can they do? They're all respectable people who can't sully their reputations. So it's up to us mercs to be the bad guys.
So, how should we handle that last request from the bank?
Did they suffer any damage last night?
Just some obscene graffiti scrawled all over the building.
Whatever. Emotional damage counts as damage too. Just dispatch some people familiar with the situation. The important thing for now is to figure out how to clear all these irrelevants off the board before the plate starts moving. So, your landship ain't here just to tow the plate away, is it?
Helping the bank evict debtors and recover non-performing assets are both on the to-do list. As for the methods, I don't think they'll leave any room for concessions.
And what do you want me to do about it?
Before I came here, someone asked me to bring a bullet to you.
A bullet? Who?
My boss, Cliff.
And who's that?
When I was looking for you that day, there was an open drawer with a photo inside. Cliff is the man who had his arm around your shoulder.
So you changed his name. Huh. And now he's your boss.
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to look. But if you have a history with each other, then maybe you could have a word with him. I don't know. If there's anyone he'll listen to, it's you, right? I really don't have any other ideas.
Jessica, I appreciate you helping out Leon, Helena, and who knows who else. But I just can't wrap my head around why you're being so stubborn about this. You're a merc. You've got no duty to us. You don't have to stick your nose into every little thing you see.
Back in Victoria, I sat back and just let things happen, and it ended horribly. It was all my fault.
Thanks for bringing me the bullet. I've been looking for it for a long time now. You should get back to your friends first. Some things, all I can do is give it my best shot.
But... Woody! The bed's empty, Woody. Did Leon go out?
I ran into him this morning. He's off looking for Miles.
Then why didn't you tell me earlier?
Let's just say, I forgot. Come again? My apologies, sir, but this place has been sealed off and no one's allowed in or out. What do you mean no one's allowed in or out? I spent half my life here. Let me through. I'm sorry, sir. Hey, wait, what are you doing to me? This... Please forgive me, sir, but this is my job. Get your ass back here! Leon? Miles? I was just about to go in there looking for you. Alright, after that huge mess last night. I'm good, but what's with the huge wound on your head? I ran into that gang of troublemakers yesterday and, we exchanged a few blows. Why aren't you in the tower? Those people barged in here after things quieted down. Said Blacksteel would be taking over the maintenance work and kindly escorted me out. They do anything to you? Miles just glances at the mercenary standing guard and says, No. Let's get out of here first. Not exactly the best place to talk. Leave the door open, Lon. We have to get back to the plate later. How can anyone get in there with their eyes all over the place? I know an abandoned path in the tower has been used in years. Then let's get going. What's the rush? I need to fetch some tools to clear the road, among other things. Need any help? None bother. I got everything here. Let's go. There's so much dust here. Just how long has this path been here? Has to be at least 30 years since anyone last came through here.
Who's there? You already called me over. There's no need to send an escort. Huh? Miles and Leon? What are you guys doing here? How'd you get them to let you in?
Shh. Keep it down, Laura. We just want to take a look around. Won't be long.
Fine. I'll let you know if the patrol comes around. But keep it quick.
Lucky we ran into her and not anyone else. What are you doing? There's already fuel in there, so why throw in more stuff to burn?
Remember what happened in July? So many people finally caved in and signed agreements to go to the frontier.
How could I forget?
Well, the bank's been putting on the pressure again, and this time there's even more people talking about it. There's a few families and some of them are already waiting for the frontier convoys. Others still want to hold out here, but how long can they keep it up?
Just get to the point, Miles.
I'm planning to leave too. No one needs the Davistown mine no more. Even if they fix up the plate, no one's gonna care about us miners. Without jobs, we'll all end up leaving in disgrace anyhow. So you know, come with me, Leon.
Maybe you're right, but I still ain't leaving.
Yep, that's the Leon I know.
So is that why you wanted to come here? Just to tell me that?
No, I came because I wanted to burn what needs burning, I guess, before I leave.
Wait, but there's so many photos of people in that album. You plan on burning all those too?
I ain't like you, Leon. I don't want to spend the rest of my life here.
I figured you were just that drunk when you said that last time.
I had a notion of leaving this town even when I was young, but no way my parents could take care of all my younger siblings on their own. That's how I ended up stumbling into the mines in a stupor when I was 15. My eyes were scorched by the heat and sweat of the boiler room, while the older guys bossed me around. I hated every goddamn minute of it. I could only press on through clenched teeth while thinking about my family. And by the time I realized it, all I knew was taking care of the furnace. Didn't know any other way to live.
You never told me all this.
Leon, it hurt when Benny said he was leaving, but even then I felt he made the right choice.
So this has been a long time coming?
Yeah. Let him go before this plate ties him down. Maybe he can go to college. Ironforge City, Dreamhounds, anywhere's fine as long as it ain't here.
So you're saying I should be glad he got out in time?
This land here's being squeezed dry, Leon. And those guys from the government are just gonna abandon it entirely or scoop in new soil from elsewhere. To them, we're just old straw refusing to rot away. Nothing but trouble.
Wait, what's that?
Why is there a photo of your family in there?
Leon reflexively moves to stick his hand into the furnace, but the photo vanishes in a puff of blue smoke before he can even feel the heat.
Benny must have left that one in. I wasn't too careful when packing it up. Sorry.
It's fine. Don't know why I wanted to grab it in the first place. Wonder how long it'll take these blisters to heal without treatment or medicine. The flames in the furnace blaze brightly, and a few sparks sputter from within. They cool in the air and turn into smattering specks of gray, falling onto the man's shoes. He sighs as he rubs the corners of his eyes, only to realize that the wetness that had been there has already dried up from the high temperature.
Sir, this must be a misunderstanding. I stayed home all night yesterday.
Please cooperate with us, ma'am.
Sir, please, can't you talk to your superior into being a little flexible? How can I leave for the frontier midwinter with a child in tow?
It seems you do know where we're taking you, so please, just cooperate. We don't want to have to resort to force.
No! Hey, what are you doing?
And which squad are you from?
Jessica, Department of Equipment and Applied Technologies, temporarily transferred to BPRS's Liskarm squad.
Oh, so you're that little princess I've heard so much about. An honor to meet you. We're under orders to trace the source of last night's unrest. Locals with heavy debt are our prime suspects, so that's where we are starting our investigation.
Does your list include a single mom with a child too?
Just following orders. Besides, even if she's innocent, we still have to repossess her mortgaged property.
Repossess mortgaged property. So this is why the boss had that word with me?
Listen, I don't see what the boss has to do with this, but I do know you're hindering my work here.
Don't you realize that you're doing the exact same thing as those gangsters you arrested?
Orders, princess. Just following orders. Don't make me repeat myself. Reporting. I found the woman.
Sir, please, I'm begging you. Let that lady go!
What?
I said let her go.
We're not the same as you, princess. We need these paychecks to eat.
Paychecks? Paychecks? Is your paycheck... no. I mean, I'm saying... I can pay you.
What's this now? Bribery? Raytheon's little lady is actually trying to bribe me?
Yes, I'm just a stupid little rich girl who throws money at all her problems, okay?
Guess there's no need for professional integrity when you've got a family like that at your back, but me? I can only trade my consciousness for cash at Blacksteel. I'm glad you're so self-aware, but it really doesn't matter. Just stop making things difficult for us lowly peasants. If you got money to burn, why not head over to the bank and pay off all their debts?
You...
Easy there, princess. Take your finger off the trigger, yeah? I know you lost your head for a bit there, but we still have to act according to our stations.
What?
Jessica lowers her head to find that at some point, her hand had moved to her holster. When she sees what is probably an expression of both weariness and disdain on the mercenary's face, she ends up swallowing her apology as she turns around and runs towards the bank. Alright, and before we continue, we do have one new enemy to add here, which is the paramilitary Axeman. An outlaw hired to sow chaos, equipped with a thermal energy axe that consumes too much power. The energy supply isn't quite sufficient to start it up. Well, too bad for that guy. Anyway, let us proceed to the after part.
Why is someone still outside this late? Is that Jessica? What brings you here at this hour, miss? I have some business here. Let's, talk inside, shall we? What's going on, Sylvia? Didn't I tell you to keep the door closed at night? Recently, those people from Blacksteel have been... Ah, so it was you, miss. I'm not sure why you've paid us a visit at this hour, but how may I serve you? Don't chase them out. Chase them out? Who exactly? The residents with debt. Don't let Blacksteel drive them out. Who's this coming from? Mr. Cliff? It's from me. Did I hear that right? If this is a joke, I'm not sure I get it. I'm serious. If you need someone to pay off their debts, then I'll pay it off for them. At least enough to let them stay through winter. Sending them to the frontier now is not different from a death sentence. What holds sway in a bank are not the delusions of a mercenary, but honest-to-goodness gold certificates. I have the certs. This isn't a crazy fantasy. I can walk the walk and pay off their debts. I'm sorry, but the bank doesn't have time to indulge your nonsense. I'm the daughter of Bernie Brinley, the CEO and largest shareholder of Raytheon Industries.
Jessica freezes on the spot as soon as she finishes speaking. Ever since she joined Blacksteel, she has never once relied on her father or her family to handle any setbacks she's faced. This was her one unwavering instance. She did not want any special treatment because of her family name. But she had just unleashed the name of her father, as well as the one that sits on their family crest.
Bernie Brinley? You must be quite the big shot then, Miss Jessica Brinley. Spare me the sarcasm, ma'am. Just give me the number. I can't give you an exact figure on the spot, but no matter. Sylvia is here, and she's always been good with numbers. What are you standing there for, Sylvia? Tell her. Miss, She's a child of the Brinley family. It should be a partially sum to her. This isn't a good idea. Tell her, Sylvia! Currently, everyone's debt in Davistown roughly totals to 276 million certs. If we calculated the interest until spring, the amount you'll need is roughly... How much? 28,450,000 gold certificates. 28 million? A small price for 3 months of peace and stability on the plate, no? At a loss for words, Miss Brinley. I don't have that much on hand right now, but I can make the arrangements. 28,450,000. So even a trust fund heiress can't withdraw that much money in one go? I've learned something new today. No. Jessica. Sylvia, You're not from Davistown. There's really no need to do this for our sake. Listen to me, you should just leave. Even if you have enough for this time, could you afford the next one? Or the one after that?
Jessica's lips tremble as she fails to let even a single word out. She knows Sylvia is not being wry, but just stating the facts. The long string of numbers in her account can ensure a carefree lifetime for her, but isn't enough to guarantee even a month's stability for the people of this plate. She thinks back to her father's earnest reminders to always act within her means and to weigh the pros and cons before doing so. But she never learned to, and thus has no achievements to her name. Sir, are you in there?
Yes, what's the matter?
He's here. Is it a good time for you to meet? Sir?
Yes, I heard you. Bring him in.
Jessica, ain't you supposed to be back on the Blacksteel land ship? Helena, is Woodrow back yet? No, he said he went out to see an old friend and isn't back yet. You don't look so good. What's wrong? Did something happen to Woody? No, he must have gone to our land ship to meet the boss. They're old friends, so maybe he can change his mind. The boss of Blacksteel? He never told me he knew a big shot like that. Doesn't he have a photo of him and some other sancta? Photo? That rings a bell, but ain't it always locked away in his drawer? How did you manage a look? That's not important. What's important is that the three in the photo were all smiles, right? Are you sure Woody went to look for the man in the photo? So you do know something about them? I don't know much about Woody's time in the Revolutionary War, and even less about the people in that photo. But back then, it was your boss who made the choice that led to Woody and the other men getting captured by the enemy and locked up in Camp Collis. Is that an internment camp? You didn't know? Well, it's ancient history. No official would ever bring it up, so of course you young'uns would know about it. It was a POW camp built by the Victorian Army during the Columbian Revolutionary War, and what went on in there was appalling. I'm talking torture. Torture? Yeah, for every 10 that went in, only 1 made it out. So Jessica, would ever call someone who left them to rot in a place like that an old friend?
Jessica recalls the brown identification document. She suddenly realizes that the document's color was not just a random shade of brown, but the color of dried blood. Sir, are you in there? Yes, what's the matter? He's here, sir. Is it a good time for you to meet? Yes, just bring him in. May I sit? Of course. We have chairs, Woody. Sorry, got used to sitting on the ground these past 2 years. I forgot I can sit on chairs without getting beat up. Autumn, the year 1019, Columbia, Camp Collis. Calling me here, got something to say to me? I figured you'd be the one full of questions for me. No, just the one. Why didn't you back me up 3 years ago? The situation changed after you left. Once the enemy encirclement suddenly tightened around our right flank, I had no choice but to abandon the original rescue plan and conserve our forces. You're gonna write it off as just that understatement? You devised a rescue plan, set me as a decoy, and in the end you didn't even rescue him. The circumstances compelled me to take responsibility for my men. Don't give me that, with that face like you don't care. Why are you so obsessed with my expressions, Woody? You've been scrutinizing my face since the moment I stepped in. Since when did Sancta ever need to pay attention to body language? What's going on, Woody? It became a habit after he passed. After all, ain't no other Sancta in here. When did he die? The document only has 1 dead stamped in here, and the rest aren't even recorded. I can't remember the details. Didn't have a calendar or a watch. Probably last year. Early spring. No, summer. I saw a pansy outside the barbed wire fence that day. What happened? At first, he was burning hot. He was mumbling non-stop, eyes wide open, and he was grabbing my sleeve like a lifeline, like he wanted to tell me something. So I moved closer to make out what he was trying to say. And? What was it? Don't know, didn't hear. He let go of my sleeve, his eyes still open, pupils all dilated, pitch black, like they could suck in everything around him. Woody. So why didn't you come? The man turns his head, and with a blank stare returns the mercenary's gaze. The black of his pupils incessantly spreads, circulates, and rotates as if trying to swallow up everything in the surroundings. As the mercenary faces the other man's glare, he feels as if a hook has extended from out of nowhere, piercing through his ankle and relentlessly dragging him into the black vortex. So, what do I call you now? Or do you go by a different name? Anything's fine. I was expecting you sooner, Woody. After what happened last night, I had so many things on my plate and so many friends to help out. If you need any help, you can always let me know, be it cash or manpower. Thanks, Cliff, but no thanks. Help is only help when it's on time, but coming from you, it's always overdue. Alright,
It's always best to get things done in a timely manner. So what are you doing here? Can't an old friend start with a "how do you do"? It's not as simple as old friends between us. What made you think we'd be acting like friends when we saw each other again? Then what would you rather be treated as? Anything else, really. No need for sarcasm, Woody. I don't even see the point anymore. We're old now. Our hair's gone full white. This past decade, I've seen my friends getting one health problem after another, and been attending funeral after funeral. Just meeting one that's still alive is hard enough. You live so far away, I doubt I'll ever see your obituary in the papers, so I came to see you personally. You shouldn't have bothered. Ain't no place for you at my funeral anyhow. That's a real shame, Woody. Didn't we make that pact to speak at each other's funerals all those years ago? I'm sure plenty of others would be happy for you to speak at their funerals, but mine, just forget about it. I hope you're not thinking I'm a fan of funerals. I only attend them because it's my old buddies in the coffins. And where do you sit? Among the friends and family? Rarely. Unless their relatives ask me to. I usually stand back and watch the whole thing from a distance. Why? I'm afraid you can't bear their pain. Pain is a relatively private experience for other races. My best guess is that we can only deal with it in our own way. Enough playing like little friends, alright? I'll put it bluntly for you. I buried him on the hillside behind the POW camp. Have you ever visited him? Unfortunately, no. I haven't found the time. You haven't changed a bit.
So, why would Woody go looking for him? It's my fault. I asked him to. What? You? I thought, on account of their past friendship, maybe my boss could be more lenient on everyone here. How could you be so naive? Jessica, Woody, Forget it. Now that it's come to this, I don't need to hide it from you. I'm planning to leave this place and head to the frontier. You too? Yeah, my regulars are all getting sent off one after another, and only us old folks are left. What's the point in keeping the diner open? Besides, just look at the holes in the walls after last night's fighting. I don't have it in me to patch them up anymore. I've invested so many years into this place, and enough is enough. Sorry. I'm so sorry. What are you apologizing for, Jessica? Because I didn't do anything. Nothing at all. I'm sorry. I really am. Don't blame yourself. You're the last person who should be doing that. You're an outsider, and the plate was on its last legs. Just get back to your friends. You have your own life to live. No need to work yourself to the bone on our account. And the check you gave me back then, take it back. But that's the only thing I can do for you. Take it. When do you plan to leave, Helena? Not too soon, I reckon. Still have to say my proper goodbyes after all.
Jessica shuts the restaurant door behind her and stands in a daze on the doorstep, the check balled up in her fist. She suddenly lets loose a kick on a pile of snow by the road, sprinkling flakes of white snow onto her head and wetting her hair. Some land on her forehead, cooling her burning heat. She retrieves a tape recorder from her bag and begins rewinding it, playing back the recording she has heard so many times. But you're just a naive little heiress. What can you even do?
This thought fills her mind as she walks slowly back towards the giant black landship. Flashback. Anyone hear that? Save us! Those suckers suddenly climbed up the plate! Many people are dead, and the rest of us are hiding in the basement of City Hall. We tried to contact Londinium's garrisons, but no one's replied. No one at all. I don't care who it is, but if you can hear this message, please help us. You are our only hope.
Why did I even want to be a mercenary? I can't save other people's lives or even their livelihoods. Where have you been all day, Jessica? We couldn't get in touch. It's nothing. I just went for a walk.
What happened?
Captain, I really have no idea why we're doing this mission. Did you see something? I saw our colleagues evicting debt-settled residents from their homes and putting them on convoys bound for the frontier. Huh? Hey, teacher's pet, now's not the time to be staring at your communicator. Did you even hear what she said?
I did, and I have news even more absurd than that. Orders from above. We'll be in charge of security at the bank. We have to stand watch 24/7, and it's up to us to figure out our shift rotation.
What? Working security for the bank?
Correct.
This is so goddamn ridiculous.
Jessica, you... Alright, we continue on to stage number 6, titled The Night of the Hunter. Everyone has things they can't do, but this is not a universally understood principle.
Did we really need to be here so early? There's nobody outside the bank right now. I have some mint candy, if that'll perk you up. Appreciate it, but I don't think that's going to do the trick. Come here, teacher's pet. Give me a good pinch. Ow! Now, let's get to work. Rise and shine, my friends. Hey, I'm talking to you.
Oh, sorry about that, Franka.
Alright, listen up. The bank has a total of 4 exits. Beanie, take your 4 people with you and guard the rear door.
Roger.
Copperplate, you and Coins will head to the garage door.
Roger.
Everyone else, come with the 3 of us and stay at the front door. Excuse me, ma'am. I'd like to ask you something. Will you people be out here all day? Yes, we will. But we're simply handling some business and don't intend to interfere with your daily affairs. Handling business? A few days ago I signed my pioneering agreement right here. That's the last bit of business I'll be handling. Who are you? I should at least fill out their customer service review. He checks the thumbs up. Meanwhile, this bullet. Were you the one who asked Jessica to bring it? Found it in an antique shop at Victoria a few years back. No wonder you searched all over the camp but couldn't find it back then. By the looks of it, seems like one of the officers secretly brought the gun into Victoria. And now that the gun's missing, that bullet is the last artifact he left behind. I warned the fella not to engrave all that flowery nonsense on it. In any case, why didn't you hold onto the bullet yourself?
Because you're the one who should have it, not me. What, your ghost's finally catching up to you? We were friends once at least. I can't say I'm happy things ended up like this. And do those feelings of guilt and sorrow do you any good? What are you after, Woody? Call your men back and stop driving out the residents. Even if Blacksteel pulls out, the government's just going to hire some other mercenaries. It won't change the outcome. I heard you initially had the option to turn down the commission. Am I wrong? Despite its name, at the end of the day, Blacksteel Worldwide is still based in Columbia. We don't have the right to refuse a job from the government. I see. So even you have to tuck your tail between your legs, like a normal person from time to time. Times have changed. As far as the Columbian government is concerned, soldiers like us mean nothing compared to the geniuses in Tremounts. Tell me, boss man, what does Blacksteel stand to gain in this contract between the bank and the government? This isn't a long-term agreement, Woody. The government has a job for us, so we follow orders and get paid. Beyond that, I don't particularly care, nor am I allowed to care. I remember back in Laterano, you'd always tell me about all sorts of things, from minor tensions between different groups to massive conflicts between countries, and you'd always put it in the context of how much the people would suffer. That was a long time ago. I can hardly remember at this point. But I do, clear as day. You told me this on our way from the library to the student dorms. The strong protect themselves, but the truly great protect others. So why is it that now, after you've seen these people with your own eyes, you can say you don't care because you're not allowed to? We've both gotten old, Woody. There's a limit to how many things you can care about. True enough, but even so, there ain't that many things worth caring about. Everything that's left, that's what's important. Maybe I can't protect everyone on the plate anymore with these rickety old bones, but the people around me, I'd give my life for them. I swear, if any of them get hurt because you got involved, then so help me God, I will return this bullet to you in one piece. I sincerely hope it doesn't come to that.
Captain, more and more people are showing up. Do we need to set up a blockade? We're not at that point yet. We don't know what the crowd's intentions are, and acting rashly will only make it harder to keep things under control. If dialogue is an option, I'd like to negotiate with the organizer first. But from what I can tell, people have been trickling in since morning. I don't think they're organized. Nobody's armed, so I'm not too worried about it coming to violence. But, you know, not worried. After all, the pressure isn't coming from the crowd in front of us, but rather from what's behind us.
The three of them turned their heads and looked back at the bank's bright and pristine glass doors and windows. The sturdiness of the windows blocks out the darkness from the outside, as well as the cold and melting snow. But no matter how transparent the glass panels are, the warmth and brightness inside will never spill out past the door.
Captain, take a look at her! Helena.
Most of them have already signed the pioneering agreement, so what are they all doing gathering out there? What are you worried about? These aren't toys the Blacksteel people are holding, you know. Good grief, and I already turned the TV on to watch the special New Year's interview. I can't imagine what the governor's going to talk about this year. Isn't it the same old song and dance, no matter how they try to spin it? Hello everyone! First I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year on behalf of everyone on the broadcasting team. During this program we will be interviewing the governor and asking him a variety of questions on the issues our citizens are most concerned about. I'm glad you could join us today, Governor. Hello there! Just as a routine reminder for our viewers, this program was pre-filmed in September and the situation may have changed since the time of recording. Please keep this in mind. You only have the scientists perched up in tree mounts to blame for that, because they still haven't worked out a way to get a messenger all around Columbia in a single day.
Helena, it's so cold out here today. Why are you... I appreciate the thought, but I ain't budging an inch. And now that you have your issues with the bank, if you have any demands, I might be able to pass them along for you. No need to be so uptight, Captain Liskarm. Most of us here already signed a pioneering contract and will be leaving with the next convoy. As for what we want, there's nothing left. We're sick and tired of these stupid games, and we're not going to do it anymore. Then what's the point of all of you coming here? To take a look. At what? Ever since I was little, I was always told that when you say goodbye to something that's been with you for a long time, you take one good long last look. So far, I took a good long look at my diner, at the mining plant, at every last place here on this plate. And today, on the first day of the new year, I'm here to take a good long look at the culprit that's making me say goodbye to everything I've ever known. Miss Helena, I'm loath to remind you of this fact, but you voluntarily signed every one of these mortgage agreements yourself. You're right, I sure did. We walked this path together, but you also pushed us down it. Nonsense. Take that other gentleman, for example. I seem to recall his business taking a major setback, and no one else would provide a loan. We were gracious enough to lend him 40,000 certs.
Right, at first it was just 40,000, not too massive, but not pocket change either. All I wanted was to pay it off as soon as I could. But then you people said I had to properly plan out my investment and liabilities. You said I shouldn't pay everything off in one lump sum along with the interest. You gave me preferential installment rates and told me to use the leftover money to buy your other financial products. Right, what you lent me was 40,000, but what you took from me was my store, my house, my car, and even my whole family. We all believed your propaganda and lies at first. You said you'd make our lives prosperous and help us achieve a better future, but where do us customers sit at the table of your so-called better future? Right, we were fools blinded by our greed and short-sightedness. We all wanted that little extra something out of our life, so we snapped at the bait. But why did we do that? Why was every last person on this plate so desperate, so eager to bite into that life-threatening hook like a skull of hungry fins? Is it really our fault, or has the well been poisoned this whole time? Miss Liskarm, please have these people vacated within 10 minutes. Make it quick. Jessica, find a way to call up Mr. Cliff. Hurry. On it. No good. I can't get through at all. Keep trying. No, sorry, Captain. I need to tell him what's happening here face to face. Then hurry. Now then, Helena, Jessica's gone to report the situation to upper management. In just a little while... You ever given any thought to your own future? I've always wanted to start a security company of my own. Would you take out a loan for it? Hypothetically, if I had to, because that's my dream. Then you better darn well be careful. That stack of cash only represents the future. It ain't gonna take you there.
That's the painful lesson the guys you're protecting taught us firsthand. They're liars and thieves. They tamper with the street signs, then turn around and laugh at us for hurling down dangerous roads in the dark of the night. I understand. I really do.
Mr. Governor, let's dive straight into the key issue. As we all know, there are still a number of areas in the transitional phase between frontier settlement and fully developed zone. Most of these settlements in the region are pioneer plates with decades of history and their own core industries, but not yet meet the standard to be considered nomadic cities, correct? It's just as you say. I've heard that the state government is currently grappling with the question of how to dispose of these plates. Nomadic plates are an important strategic resource, so I cannot agree with your use of the word dispose. Providing assistance to these transitional areas and their residents has become one of the most important items on our desk. For example, additional investment tax exemptions, school admission discounts, and low-interest loans. All of these policies are designed to benefit people living in just those situations.
Manager. Fetch the authorization agreement, the one sent by the state government that allows us to mobilize private armed forces in case of emergency.
But...
Hurry it up, don't just sit there gawking.
Decades ago, when our forefathers came here, the Columbian customs official asked about their dreams. Later, when development on the plate was booming, you encouraged us to stride forward towards a brighter tomorrow, saying that all of Columbia wanted to hear our enthusiasm. But now that we are destitute, sickly, and worthless, you're slamming the door in our faces. That's not how this works! We'll holler, we'll shout, and we'll roar! So you best pick up your ears and listen! We cry out for a blizzard, and a mighty storm comes, pushed out in the wilds with hardly a crumb. Far, far away from the lands where we've grown, searching for new lands, new soil to call home. About these low-interest loans, did I catch you on the back foot? How unusual. Normally you'd be bombarding me with questions. To be honest, I think this is a rather tough question and hope that you'll answer it truthfully. Some believe that providing a deferment on the interest is simply using tax money to subsidize the local economy, which is not only a waste of money but also dampens the enthusiasm of the residents and promotes laziness over self-reliance. Speaking from the state's perspective, we have identified specific plates where something similar can be observed, but we must also extend an appeal to our other citizens. Please show patience and wait for our projects in the transitional zones to fully come to fruition. I implore you to have faith that our local residents aren't lazy, but simply need time to rediscover how to use their legs to walk again. The day they're strong enough to cast aside their crutches, they will repay our Columbian brothers and sisters back in full, with their hearts full of gratitude for your generosity.
Found it! Go and close the windows, draw the curtains tight, and stay away from doors and windows.
What are they doing outside? Singing? The plate residents outside. The plow trudges on, the hammer strikes true. With our own two hands, there's nothing we can't do. Ever since the day we were born, a heavy burden we've always borne.
Your 10 minutes are up. Seeing how they still refuse to vacate the premises, we'll have to resort to more forceful measures. Sorry, ma'am, but we can't do that. We shouldn't let these sorts of things get between our partnership. If you insist on neglecting your duties, then I can only regretfully inform you that your team is now under my direct command. Who the hell do you think you are? The agreement to reclaim this plate was jointly signed by the local government, the bank, and Blacksteel. There are clauses within it stating that Blacksteel's personnel must obey our commands and mobilize in case of extraordinary circumstances. This is an authorization letter sent at the time of the signing. Please take a look.
You do not have the authority to override our actions, ma'am.
No, it says it right here in no uncertain terms. I do have that authority. Now, Miss Liskarm, do it.
Apologies, but I'll have to kindly refuse.
What you are refusing is not a minor request from a small bank, but a direct order from the government. Don't forget, Blacksteel is only what it is today because of the trust that Columbia has poured into it. But trust is easily broken. Even a tiny branch is enough to tear down everything that's been built up. Do it. Do not make me repeat myself.
The citizens continue. We're the ones who starve, we're the ones who die. For a null and empty check, we paid the final price. We're not in that future. My, oh my, oh my. Goodbye, my sweet home. A good long goodbye. Now far, far away from the lands where we've grown. Still searching for new lands, new soil to call home.
Ma'am, it makes no difference how many times you say it. I'm not going to open fire. Let me say it again, I will not open fire, nor will I allow any of my squad members to do so. My job is simply to ensure that nobody breaks into the bank and threatens your precious lives. And as far as I can tell, these people pose no threat to you and merely wish to say goodbye. My sincerest condolences if your fragile heart is wounded by this. After all, parting is always such sweet sorrow. Isn't that right? Listen up, everyone. Nobody's allowed to move without my direct order.
Roger. Roger.
Roger. Roger. Now, turn around, ma'am. This is what it truly means to sing. So just sit back and enjoy the show.
Alright, and before we continue, we once again have one new enemy to add here to the list, which is the paramilitary bombardier. A mercenary hired to sow chaos, equipped with a compressed air grenade launcher. In complete disregard to safety regulations, the gas cylinder is preheated to increase weapon efficiency. Good for you, buddy! Anyway, continuing with the after part. The vast lands of the frontier still have considerable potential for development, and we earnestly invite everyone whose talents have not yet been put to their best use to join us up there. But for those who remain steadfastly committed to their hometowns, we've also been preparing a plate redevelopment plan. And what is that plan exactly? For certain plates that have not been meeting industrial benchmarks, we've thought up redevelopment plans to give them a brand new image. The high-tech industries attracted by the state government will make use of these valuable plates to expand their cutting-edge businesses. What exciting news! I'm sure all the residents of those plates can't wait to see the bright new future that awaits them. We already have concrete plans for a number of them, including Bayswood, Dead Horse, and Davistown. I wonder if anyone in the audience is tuning in from any of those plates. I'm sure it'll be the best news they've heard all year.
Mr. Cliff, you wouldn't believe how excited I am to see the splendor of Fort Barron with my own eyes.
You're too kind. It's an honor to work with a company like yours.
If at all possible, I would like to continue our partnership across other business ventures out in the frontier.
I was just thinking the same thing.
It's always a pleasure to speak with you, and I hope that never changes. After all, towing is a long process, and we might not be parting ways until the snow melts in the spring. Too soon, if you ask me. A true pity.
Sir! Sir! Please let me in. I have something urgent to report.
If you ever need anything, my door is always open.
Please open the door, sir. It's an emergency. I'm begging you.
Sounds like you have urgent matters to attend to. Give me just a minute. What are you doing here, Jessica? Who gave you permission to come yelling and banging on my door?
My apologies, sir, but the contents of Jessica's report are, in fact, urgent.
Outfitted then?
The man over there.
May I use your restroom? Go ahead. Now, what exactly was so important that you had to come running to me?
The bank is trying to leverage their deal with the government to make us open fire on a civilian crowd.
And did you do it?
I can't say what happened after I left, but... No. There's no way we'd obey that order.
Alright, I understand. You can leave now.
What are we going to do about the residents?
That's none of your business.
But can you at least...
If you still don't get it, I'll spell it out for you. It's none of your business, and it's none of mine either.
Are you serious? Then what is your business? The massive kickback you're getting from the bank? The extrajudicial privileges that the military grants you? Or is it the feeling you get when you trample people beneath your feet? The feeling of being superior to others?
Glyph narrows his eyes, scanning the now unfamiliar mercenary before him from head to toe.
I'm in my 90s, Jessica. It takes more than that to get me excited.
Why then? What do you get from surrounding yourself with these people? How can I not have suspicions? The way I see it, you've thrown away almost all your humanity, and for what?
Humanity? It's a word that means less and less to me as I get older. Blacksteel is a PMC, and I'm the boss. What do I need pretty words for? To put it another way, Jessica, if those are the things you value so much, what are you doing here?
I
remember what your father once told me, that you wanted to resolve conflicts and protect others.
That's right.
In that case, why not become a police officer, a judge, or a peacekeeper? And if all else fails, you could at least become a soldier to protect your family and country, right? But you chose mercenary, a job that uses force for money, a job that's inseparable from death and violence, a job that's devoid of glory or honor. And I know you're not short on cash either, so I ask you again, Jessica. What are you even doing here? If you haven't figured it out yet, then I can always give you my answer, because I have one.
Ambition. For the sake of my own ambitions, to prove that I'm no less than my brothers and sisters, to prove that I'm not a mediocre stain on my family. That's why I'm here.
Not bad. I like seeing that clarity and self-awareness. So don't stand there and criticize the way I conduct my business. Your father is also an excellent businessman, and so is his daughter. You do well to learn from him. You need to be more mature, more rational, less emotional. Secretary, escort her out. From now on, never let her in again, no matter what.
Decades ago, you sat back and watched your friends get taken captive. Decades later, you're doing the same thing as people are being driven from their homes. If that's what you call a mature, rational, and level-headed choice, then I'd rather stay naive my entire life. I'd rather remain a mediocre fool.
Please leave, Miss Brinley.
Don't touch me. I can leave on my own.
I see you've taken care of your business.
That's right. However, I did hear some bad news. Some very unfortunate news. Your subordinates gave my people an order to open fire at the entrance of the bank. Without asking, without permission.
And why is that a problem? We have authorization from the government, and you provided us the team. When an urgent situation arises that requires force, I don't see why it's necessary to report our every move to you, line by line. You can rest assured that our people will show restraint, but during emergencies, our own needs must come first.
I don't think you understand what I'm saying. This is very bad news, but not for me, for you.
Surely you jest.
Nobody can go over my head and command my troops. If you really want us to coexist in harmony going forward, you'd best remember those words.
Have you finished sorting that batch of documents? I'm going through them right now. I'll have them ready shortly. I just saw a repossession document. Neon Thermin just recently sold his shares. But this blank contract prepared for him showed up in a pile of documents dating back more than a decade. And it's not just this one document. Many of them have been misplaced and don't have any signatures on them. They weren't misplaced, they were prepared in advance. But 10 years ago, many of these people hadn't even set foot in the bank yet. Sylvia, we have a professional actuarial system. Our concern has never been collecting a bit of interest on the loans. We've always had our eyes on the prize, and that's never changed. Everything here. That isn't what you told me before. True, you aren't part of the inner circle, so it's understandable that you be out of the loop. All the more reason to work harder and rise through the ranks. But given the current situation, I think you'll best make full use of the opportunity you have before you.
Woody, where did you go? What happened to your arm?
Pushed my luck a little, and they finally put me in my place.
Helena, if I were to leave this town, would you come with me?
What did guy say to you?
Nothing. Just proved once and for all that he's still a good-for-nothing bastard.
But that good-for-nothing bastard is the reason you left Laterana without a second thought. First set foot on Columbian soil and joined a war that took nearly everything from you.
The ideals he painted back then were so mesmerizing, so tempting. To be a hero, to lead our people to end the war, to build a new paradise, beyond Laterano. You know how it is for young'uns with their heads in the clouds, always following whoever shows the most confidence when peddling their dreams.
I know, Woody, I know. But I ain't even saying you were tricked. I'm just saying you don't have to be ashamed of your past. It don't matter where your journey started, because it brought you here. Those mistakes made you who you are. Sure, you can look back every now and then, but don't you ever regret it.
Helena.
Care for a dance, Woody? I can teach you. When I was 18, some awkward fella taught me these steps. He was a complete fool, through and through, but that didn't stop me from loving the dance.
Actually, I already know how to dance.
Oh? How come I never knew that? Since when?
Since I was little, and of course you didn't know. I never told you.
Where'd you learn?
On my way back to the dorms.
Wanna give it a go then?
It'd be my pleasure, ma'am.
Why didn't you just walk away when you got the order to vacate them? When you're disobeying orders, might as well go all the way. What a drama queen. Even the squads that showed up later could tell you were staying behind to make sure it didn't go out of hand. So how's your forehead doing? Didn't expect our own people to wear kitty gloves with the crowd, but show no mercy to the co-workers. I'm fine, just a scratch. And at the end of the day, we were the first to disobey orders. I didn't know what to do at that point either, so I just went back to the basics. Made sure that nobody got hurt. Well, you did a damn good job, teacher's pet. By the way, there's something I've been meaning to tell you all day, but never got the chance. Happy New Year! Let me check. Sorry, but it's already past midnight. So what? I suppose it's not important. Maybe it's just sucks that I wasn't the one to say it first. Happy New Year.
The heavy iron door shuts tightly, and the mechanism springs into place with the sound of a dull collision, sealing off the smell of ink coming from within. An intoxicating smell. With just one whiff, people will start having wondrous delusions. All their desires can be at their fingertips, and all their regrets can be made right.
What do you really want? And what do you regret? Sylvia.
Several flashbacks.
Top of your class again? Golly, how did someone like me give birth to a kid as smart as you? I couldn't be more proud of you, Sylvia. Are you serious, Sylvia? That's the best financial institution in all of Columbia. Oh, goodness gracious, I can't believe my daughter actually made it. I'm so proud of you. I really can't say it enough. Sylvia, are you sure you want to work in a bank back home? You know, I don't want my position to get in the way of what you want, especially with a decision as important as this one. I'm so proud of you, my daughter. Go, Sylvia. We can always find another job. I'll be fine. No matter what you do, your mom will always be proud of you. Even when I'm no longer here. You're my pride and joy, forever and always. Mom, I hope you'll always be proud of me.
It is a magical smell that can even twist the threads of time. Within it, a tiny infant picks up a kite that will not take flight for decades, and a sickly old man sees the honeyed candy he longed for when he was 3. Nobody can resist its temptation. Alright, and we move on to our final story stage for today's episode, which is number 7. One quick little thing here, there is no new enemy to add here, so we will be doing just the usual thing of splicing the 2 cutscenes into one, so let's begin. Titled White Heat. Whenever one acts, another will respond. The more fierce the action, the more extreme the reaction. Let's go.
New years came and went, but the freezing wind and snow continued to nip at Davistown, leaving not a shred of warmth. Amidst the crowd outside the plate, waiting for their ride, Miles drowsily thinks to himself, how long has it been since he's waited for a bus like this in the cold?
So, what kind of place are you headed to in the frontier, old man?
Somewhere warmer than here, at least. Don't worry about me. They showed me mercy by allowing me to be buried along with my old neighbors.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
What's done is done, kid. Best to just move on and stay out of trouble. Right, I just remembered. The last time I was waiting for a ride like this, it was to head to a nomadic city to attend my little sister's funeral. It was a cold day just like this one. Helena, Woodrow, and Leon, they all stayed with me while I waited for the convoy to show up. I was holding a bouquet stuck inside a vase from Helena's diner, and wearing an old suit Leon lent me, freezing my ass off for hours. Weirdly, I can even clearly remember how long Woodrow's beard was that day, but everything after I got on the bus is just a blur, like looking through a layer of frosted glass. I think I went to a huge city, but it also seemed smaller than Davistown. I think I cried a lot, but it also feels like I didn't cry at all. After that, it's just me hopping on a bus back to town, and my friends helping me get off. I actually do remember what happened after that. I went to Helena's place and started drinking and drinking. Got pretty sloshed, but I somehow still remember everything I said that night.
The convoy for the frontier has arrived. Hop on the bus, people of Davistown.
Even my precious baby sister's gone. All I got left is Davistown, and I'm gonna follow her to the grave, damn it. You hear me, Leon? I'm gonna dig my grave here, and when the time comes... Don't you act like I've forgotten, Miles. You told me, when the time comes, stuff my body into that plant's furnace and see if my ashes can make the people here sneeze.
The engineer throws his head back and takes another huge swig.
As soon as you finished talking, the town was perfectly fine, but I was the one who got the mother of all sneezes. Back then, nobody laughed. Nobody could laugh at all. But now it seems so damn funny. What do you think? Don't just sit there all quiet. Drink, Miles. Drink.
Sorry, we're late. Woodrow, Helena, where's Leon? Right before we left, he said he needed some time to figure things out. Said he'd be back later, then popped open another bottle.
But we're out of time. No big deal. If anything, maybe it's better this way. Damn weather. Why does it have to be so cold?
Well, once you're on the bus, you can kiss this weather goodbye.
Woodrow!
Ain't nothing wrong with what he said.
I'm sorry.
Stop apologizing, Jessica. This whole damn time, it was the bank's fault, Blacksteel's fault, and sometimes even our own fault. But you never did nothing wrong. So stop blaming yourself. We weren't expecting much from you in the first place.
Miles realizes his mistake the moment the words leave his lips. But before he has a chance to explain himself, the convoy leader has already grabbed his arm. If you had something to say, you should have said it earlier. Now get on, you're the last one.
Jessica,
If you wait any longer, I trust you take personal responsibility for any rust armor or catastrophes that show up. Now get a move on.
Don't take it the wrong way, Jessica. That's not how he meant it. I know, but he's not wrong either. I've done so much here, but in the end I've never actually accomplished anything. Nothing changed.
Who is it? Oh, Woodrow? Or is it Helena? Stop rushing me. I already said I'm over it. I'm gonna go and see Miles off. What do you want? What? You're here to chase me out too?
Unlike what Leon is used to seeing, Sylvia does not apologize, bow her head, and run off. She stands there for a moment, tightly clutching something to her chest, then stiffly puts one foot forward and walks into the diner. She keeps walking until she reaches the seat closest to the counter, sits down with her back to the door, and stares straight at the empty chair in front of her.
Mr. Theremin, are Woodrow and Helena going to come back?
Woodrow and Helena? How's that any of your business? They went to see Miles off.
The cold wind blowing in from the crack in the door Sylvia left behind whispers as it circles past the mouth of the empty beer bottle. It sends a shiver down Leon's spine.
They went to see Miles off and will be back in a bit. But nobody wants to see you, got it? If you do, then scram. Just leave me alone.
Sylvia's fingers are tightly clasped together on top of the table. She gulps down a mouthful of water and forces herself to turn and look at Leon's face. It is then that he finally sees what she had been clutching. A ring, silver in color, with a few diamonds inlaid across it.
Mr. Theremin, I can't...
Who gave you that ring hanging around your neck?
The ring?
Couldn't have been me or Benny. So that leaves... him?
Their eyes meet. Sylvia nods slightly and clutches the ring once again, her eyes burning with an almost crazed determination. The look in her eyes reminds Leon of someone. Carl's eyes. The night before he departed, he disappeared for a few hours, and when he returned, his eyes looked exactly like those of the person now in front of him.
You know, Jessica, our team also has to pull out of Davistown the moment we receive the order. Whatever else happens here, we have to return to the ship. I know that. We're leaving. Miles has already left. Woodrow and Helena said they're leaving too. Leon probably wants to either. Everyone will be gone. But what have I done for them? Well, if you ask me, you cleaned up the bandits terrorizing the place, helped Leon save his house, and told Cliff that the bank had overstepped its authority, even if you don't want to acknowledge it. But in the end, it was all in vain. I let everyone down. Or maybe even worse, it's just as Miles said. Nobody expected anything from me in the first place. It's all because I went and stuck my nose where it didn't belong. Jessica! No, even so, I still... Laura, I need to go out for a walk. Now's not the time for that. We're about to return to the land ship. I'll help you pack your stuff, so just take a nice nap. I'll wake you up when it's time to go, okay? I have to do this. Where are you going? I don't know. You sure about this? Don't take too long, okay? I'll try my best.
Stop drinking already, Leon. Wait, You're sober?
As sober as I ever am.
Wait, and Sylvia? What's she doing here?
She insisted on waiting for you two to get back, so she could have a chat with all of us.
Sylvia stands up from her seat, still gripping the ring tightly. Blue veins are visible across her white knuckles. Helena, Woodrow, Mr. Theremin. I know of some money in the bank.
Of course there's money in the bank. What's the point of telling us that?
I mean, Blacksteel delivered a large sum of cash to serve as reserve funds, and it's all sitting in a vault right now.
Why?
The bank wants to prepare for Davistown's new residents. They're going to clear out the entire plate to welcome the precision technicians, R&D personnel, and managers that form the cornerstones of the new industries. To meet the demand for their deposits and loans, there's a lot more cash in the bank than usual. Maybe enough to let a large group of people start a new life in the frontier. So, that's the situation.
That's it? What are you getting at, Sylvia?
Someone actually sober wouldn't be asking that, Leon.
But here's my question. If you're saying what I think you are, I need to know. Sylvia, do you expect us to return the money to its rightful owners? Or do you want us to take it by force?
Sylvia nods slightly in an almost unrecognizable manner, then continues fidgeting with the ring on her chest while waiting for the final judgment. The diner is deathly quiet. At least we're all on the same page. Leon, you in or not? Say something.
No, I know this money should have been ours, but I don't know. I don't want to be a criminal scum like those bandits.
You really think the bandits were the biggest crooks in Davistown? So, you're with her, Woodrow?
No.
No?
I admire her courage, but this is too much of a long shot. For example, Sylvia, you got a map of the bank?
Yes.
Give it here.
I don't have anything on paper, but I do know that it's 100 paces from the bank's front entrance to the master control switch. Based on my stride, that make it about 200 feet. Before that, there are 3 turns at steps 44, 74, and 93. The landmarks are a potted plant, a floor lamp, and a counter. From the master control switch to the entrance of the vault, you have to pass through the reception room, go through a hidden doorway, and then down a 36-step stairwell. Afterwards, there will be a straight path, which will take a...
You actually memorized all that?
Doubtful. Sylvia, how far is it from your seat to the entrance of the diner?
I just walked 18 paces, and after the 6th step I made a right angle turn for a total distance of about 36 feet.
She didn't memorize it. She's just been there countless times, as you just heard.
Woodrow, what do you reckon our odds are if you joined us? And what about with Leon?
Are we supposed to get all this cash out to the frontier without leaving any traces?
I can take care of that.
I don't doubt you can survive out there, but what about the money?
Helena lets out a sigh. She nimbly hops over the bar counter, picks up the knife on the table, and bends down to pry up the floorboards. Creaks and cracks can be heard, and a pop. A cloud of dust, ancient and full of history, rises from her feet. Don't act like you got me all figured out just cause you found that box when the water leaked. The man who left me this place, as well as his passbook. Any idea when I met him?
Surprised me.
When I was 18.
At the time, my old man was trying to sell me to his boss's son, so he could climb up the ranks. When I heard the news, I ran to the bar and hid there all night, which is where I met him. In the end, we hopped on his burden beast in the dead of night and rode until that stifling old place was nothing but a distant memory.
Wait, you eloped with him when you were 18? But by the time you got here...
We'd broken up. Hadn't seen him for over 2 decades. I lived by my lonesome in the frontier for over 20 years. You'd think after all that time I wouldn't have learned how to line my petticoats with the goldbacks.
Helena flashes a sweet smile, removes the weapon from her shoulder and places it on the table in front of Sylvia.
If you boys ain't in, I'll do it myself.
You and Sylvia are going to rob a bank? Just the two of you?
Maybe I'll be caught outside the vault, maybe I'll get trapped inside and end up a pile of bones buried in cash. Maybe I'll die trying to escape. Either way, as long as I draw breath, I will see these done. That's how I'm approaching this anyhow. Now I need to know where you two stand.
Leon takes out a wrench from his tool belt and places it next to Helena's weapon.
Your move, Woody.
Who's there?
Jessica? What are you... Why now of all times? I don't know.
You don't know?
But I need to do something. I need to make a difference.
If what Miles said is still bothering you, you'd best just forget about it. You still got the time, the energy, to do so many great things. No need to tie yourself down to Davistown and a bunch of old fogies past their prime.
No, Woodrow. Too many times now I've had the drive, but kept failing short for any number of reasons. I didn't have the ability or the time. The situation changed on me, orders or requests. Even now I'm not sure what it is I can do. I'm stuck watching helplessly as you're all driven away one by one to an uncertain future in the frontier. If I don't make a difference this time, I feel like I might get used to it, to never making a difference. And if that happens, I can see myself believing, to protect my own mental health, that I've always been incompetent, that I could never protect anyone. I can see myself thinking there was never any special meaning to picking up a gun, and I just made a wrong turn somewhere in life and was stuck with it. I don't want that to happen. So much so that I'd die to make sure it doesn't. Sylvia? If you truly see this as your last chance, well, this is also our last chance to take back what's rightfully ours from the bank. Will you help us, Jessica?
As soon as Sylvia stands up, Jessica sees the look on her face. Her complexion is frighteningly pale, but her cheeks are unusually sanguine in a way that only serves to make the former more shocking.
Enough!
Woodrow? Why are you pointing your gun at me?
Forget everything you just heard and scram.
Why? What's the meaning of this? We have to get to the bank.
Sylvia!
And take back what belongs to Davistown. Take back?
Go, Jessica. Go back to your friends.
Woodrow!
You came here for a shoulder to cry on, and we offered you a hot drink and a pat on the shoulder. No more, no less. You're still young. Every day of your life is a new beginning. I'm serious.
As if her tears had frozen over and evaporated, Jessica's vision suddenly becomes clear. She sees the unusual blush across Sylvia's cheeks. She sees the wrench and the unfamiliar weapon sitting on the table. She sees the dark hole in the muzzle of Woodrow's gun. For the first time in her life, she makes up her mind in a split second. She walks towards Woodrow's pistol, approaches Sylvia, and draws her own gun from her waist before placing it on the table in front of her.
I'm in. All squads are fully prepared and ready to return to the landship at a moment's notice. Where's Jessica? Still can't reach her. Her communicator is broken again. Twice in one operation. That's too much of a coincidence. What is that girl up to? Jessica, you're finally back. Sorry. Don't worry about it. Laura already packed your bags. It's not that. I'm here to say goodbye. Goodbye? Are you applying for temporary leave? I guess. And your reason for doing so? Personal reasons. There's some personal stuff I have to do no matter what. And how long will you be gone? I don't know. Maybe a week? Maybe a year? Did you hit your head? You really expect us to grant temporary leave for up to a year? If that isn't an option, then can I hand in my resignation? You're quitting? Right. You said from the start that you're here to say goodbye. And goodbyes don't need an application. I don't know what brought this on all of a sudden, but I need to remind you. If you leave the team, everything you've worked so hard for in Blacksteel will likely go up in smoke. Whatever it is you need to do, are you willing to trade all of your efforts until now for it?
Flashback.
These are the last explosives left in the mine. Let's go grab them.
Okay.
I'll do the inspection. You go ahead and rest for now.
Leon,
What is it?
are you sure about this? About blowing up the furnace? I know I shouldn't be saying this, but you were so reluctant when we talked about blowing up the energy tower.
If we don't blow it up, how else are we gonna seal the secret passage and hide Helena's whereabouts? As for what I personally think, it ain't important. Don't matter no more. Ain't a single thing left in Davistown that can be fixed up. But if we get that money, there's still hope for us. Someday down the road, out on the frontier, right?
There will be, for sure.
Hope. Hope. Who knew one last glimmer of hope would be so damn expensive? But for this last bit of hope, for this ticket not to reach the end of the line today, I have to accept that, even if it costs me my life.
I have no idea what you're trying to accomplish, Jessica, but can you guarantee you won't regret it?
Back into another flashback.
When using the welding gun, pay attention to the angle between it and the weld. Holding it too high causes spattering and makes it easy to get hurt. For a woman who runs a diner, you sure know your way around too many things. I spent more than 2 decades traveling across Grand Old Columbia. I had a lot of choices. When you got dumped, did you ever think about going home? Dumped? Oh, I get it. Leon must have gotten the wrong idea. Nah, I'm the one who dumped him. He ended up being a real by-the-books sort of fella. Didn't suit that gruff face of his one bit. Back then I was dead set on traveling across Columbia with him, but he thought I was too wild. Still, we supported each other across the Barrens, and I ain't saying it was a bad life. But one night he suddenly proposed to me, said he couldn't stand all that wandering no more, and he wanted to settle down on some plate. Going through the same motions in the same place over and over again, I couldn't imagine a worse punishment. So I turned him down, left him all my money and possessions, and told him I'd make a terrible wife. Then I mounted my burden beast and rode off into the sunset. But you still ended up in Davistown. In his letter, he said he'd finally fulfill his old dream and wanted me to drop by to visit.
So I came here thinking the whole trip about how to turn him down in a way that'll let him keep his middle-aged dignity. But you know the rest. I was too late. He'd already passed away.
And then you inherited his diner and stayed.
I didn't inherit it, I recaptured it. It'd been ransacked by a gang of thugs. Must have thought of at least 15 of them.
Huh?
That's all life is. Romantic stories ain't always have romantic reasons. More often than not, the journey is just a punchline.
All these years, have you ever had any regrets?
Regrets?
Like for eloping, for breaking up, for not being able to see him one last time, or for staying behind in Davistown, stuff like that.
Nope. I feel bad about a lot of things, but I wouldn't say I regret them. I've enjoyed the results of my choices and accepted the costs, all with complete peace of mind.
I don't know. You made such a huge decision without even thinking it through. That's not what I mean. I've given a lot of thought to your questions and I've heard other people's answers too. In a sense, I've even agreed with them. But I can't just regurgitate what they said and let them make my choices for me, because in the end, their answers aren't mine. I don't know if throwing away my past life is too steep a cost. I don't know if I'll regret this later, nor do I know what will happen to me in the future. But despite all that, I have to do this.
I understand. Nevertheless, I have to reject Jessica Brindley's request to be temporarily discharged from the team.
I see. Then I'll have to resign.
Jessica...
Liskarm... Captain?
Even the slickest, most experienced veterans who don't give two shits about their job wouldn't throw around the word resign as casually as you do. But I also have to imagine that maybe what I'm seeing here is a Jessica who's finally cast aside her fears and self-doubt. A Jessica who's truly found herself. I still object to your decision vehemently, but if you've made up your mind...
I'm sorry. I really am. Give it a break already. And stay safe out there. Jessica. I'm sorry, Laura. To tell you the truth, I had an inkling this would happen when I couldn't contact you. But if you've already made up your mind, can I get one last hug? Think of it as a parting gift.
Before Jessica can answer, Laura has already taken a few steps forward and wrapped her arms tightly around her. With her back to Liskarm and Franka, she also stuffs a tiny slip of paper into Jessica's pocket.
Wait until we're gone to read it. Take care. Stay safe. Anything else we need to do, Captain?
No.
Then, let's get going. Woodrow, are you and Laron really going to be safe out there in the woods? After the heist, there will definitely be a bunch of people after you.
You really need to start thinking about your own future instead of fretting over us geezers.
I haven't given it much thought. Maybe I'll have plenty of time to figure it out from a jail cell.
Not planning on staying a mercenary.
I just don't want to spend the rest of my life on a battlefield.
Jessica, whatever you decide to keep fighting or to put the battlefield behind you, I just hope you won't blame yourself for not finding an answer.
What did you end up choosing?
After the Revolutionary War, I stumbled around blindly for a long time, until I finally decided to live a boring life, day by day.
Doesn't really count as an answer.
Why not? Just cause you're the one who thinks so doesn't mean it's wrong. You're still young. Got a long road ahead of you.
Will I find my answer?
As she looks at the now abandoned safe house, Jessica feels a soreness coming from her nose. She sniffles and gives it a rub, then opens up the slip of paper from before. Following the instructions of a few numbers scribbled on the note, Jessica turns to an inconspicuous corner of the safe house where she finds a partition made from wooden boards.
5, 6, 7. The back of the 8th board is hollow.
The cavity behind the board is filled to the brim with equipment, all brought here by Jessica herself when she set out from Blacksteel's landship. Sitting on top is another note in the same style of scribbles.
I take it you have unfinished business in Davistown. This gear should come in handy. Just forget about everything else and do it. I believe in the choice you made, so believe in yourself too.
At the bottom of the note is one last line.
Goodbye, Jessica. Hopefully, we already parted ways on a high note. Sorry I'm not late, am I? I needed some time to sort through my gear.
It's fine. We still got 5 minutes.
Where did you get all this stuff?
A parting gift from a friend.
Then I'll have to give him a right and proper thank you if we ever meet again.
One last rundown. After we go through the door, Helena and Leon are in charge of clearing any obstacles and grabbing the money. Jessica and I will be on crowd control, then we catch up afterwards. Once the deed is done, Helena takes the money with her through the secret passage, while the rest of us draw attention away from her. Any questions? If only there were more explosives. We ought to give that bang a little surprise.
Settle down. If the info we got from Sylvia is correct, we'll need to save most of them to breach the last door.
The key to our success is speed. We don't have much time. The mercs on duty will be back in half an hour.
Even if we can get the job done in that time, the explosion will definitely attract Blacksteel's attention. However, most of the mercenaries are back on the landship tonight, and it'll take them time to arrive.
If it comes to that, just leave it to me. I'll buy you the time you need. Time to go.
Who the hell are you?
Hands of the alarm.
This is a robbery.
As long as you all cooperate, nobody's getting hurt or dying tonight.
No way. How is this happening?
Shh. See, you're in the same boat as the other young lady over there. This is your one warning. We won't be so kind next time. Now then, folks, just don't panic and follow our instructions. Those are the conditions for your survival.
Seeing how there are no objections, why don't you all mosey on over to the main lobby and squat down with your hands on your heads? We all know each other here. No funny business. Now move it. You'll need to pass through a total of 4 doors to get to the vault. The first is the door to the reception area, which needs a key, but any employee can get it. The second is a passcode locked in the reception room. The passcode changes every day, but there are certain rules. From what I've gathered, today's code should be...
Perfect. The reception room key works.
Next up is the secret door, behind the tapestry to the right of the entrance. Over here. Looks like Sylvia was right on the money.
794461. It worked? I'll be damned. That girl's got one good head on her shoulders.
What's next?
Inside the vault, there are 2 more doors. One's the security fence, the other is a vault door weighing dozens of tons. The security fence can be broken through by force, but because it's connected to the security system, the only safe way through is via passcode. The code is split into 3 parts, one for the president, one for the manager, and another randomly generated by a cipher. The cipher is located in a safe inside the reception room, and you'll have to force that one open. How'd it go? Didn't damage anything inside the safe, did you?
Mint condition.
Can't believe your skills haven't rusted after not using them in years. What's the matter? That was an invitation for you to start bragging. I mean, ain't nobody else in this town with your skill set.
Don't mind me, just worried about how Woodrow's doing. That's number 22. Now you're all tied up. Next up is...
I never imagined these would be the circumstances we'd met again in Miss Brinley. I'd recommend worrying about your responsibilities first. Also, I've heard this bank keeps a series of secret numbers, 2 of which are held by you and this gentleman here. I hope you're both willing to cooperate.
No, take a walk with us. If you're not feeling cooperative, well, guess I'll have to shoot you. Pick up the pace.
Good evening, you two.
Helena, what's the meaning of this?
You've got nothing to fear, sir. I just wanted to ask you a few simple questions. Will you tell us the passcode, or do we tie you to this door and blast you both to pieces? Your choice. Friendly reminder, it is not a crime to reveal secrets under life-threatening duress.
You damn thugs! 5. Don't even think about it. You bastards don't deserve a single penny. You all deserve to rot out in the frontier. 4. You complacent idiots put all your eggs into the mine, yet you still have the gall to whine to the bank after getting wiped out. 3. Nobody gives a damn about your rock minerals. It's the era of high-tech and automation now. Your only value to Columbian is to be thrown out to the frontier. The sooner the better. 2. You filthy uneducated hicks. You idiots don't even have a damn clue what numbers mean. Serves you right for getting tricked. 1. 654784. Huh. Never seen anyone spit out a string of numbers that fast. Okay, now that your boss has squealed, it's your turn, ma'am. Give me the passcode or die. Hurry up and tell them already. You really want to die here?
Mr. Theremin, what would you even do with the money? Do you seriously think you can get rid of us and start over out on the frontier? Of course you can't. We're everywhere. We will follow your footsteps and find you no matter where you go. The money you steal will smell as sweet as honey, and soon enough our local associates will swarm all over it to eat it up. And with the promise of a few extra benefits, they'll even press and deliver your heads to us on a silver platter.
What's the goddamn passcode?
368654. Go on, take it. You won't accomplish a thing, my friends. Nothing will change. The strategy is doomed to happen again and again.
Shut up.
Shut up? It is human nature to be greedy, and Mr. Theremin here is a prime example. Had he not been so eager to cling onto things that never belonged to him. You shut your mouth. How far you've fallen to mingle with the sorry lot, Miss Jessica Brinley. Leon Theremin here could have left this place ages ago, taken his children with him to Ironforge City, Nilitburg, or Bunker Hill. What kind of blasting engineer wouldn't be able to earn enough to put food on the table? How else would he have ended up like, if not for his greed?
You...
Leon, she's right. The door is open.
Leon suddenly turns to look at Helena without saying a word. She's shocked to see the panic in his eyes.
It takes her a few moments to understand why.
Sorry, I meant she gave us the right passcode.
I know, it's fine, I know.
If you managed to open the first 3 doors, congratulations. The last is merely an extra credit question. It appears the most complicated, but the solution is the simplest. Blast it open.
Done. Or the explosives. Primed and ready. Do it. Like a precise surgical operation, the steel bars buried deep within the concrete are located with pinpoint accuracy and twisted until they break under the force of the explosion. The fuel ignites under tremendous temperatures, bursting into layers upon layers of flames that gently wrap around the steel. Then, at the moment it lets its guard down, all its defenses are stripped away. The powerful backdraft caused by the explosion tears apart the stacks of banknotes floating on the upper level, and the shredded paper is sent spiraling down the underground cavity. For a few moments, the snowfall here is heavier than it is outside. The 4 people present are rendered speechless by the snow that so many people could only dream of seeing. Breathtaking.
Lord Almighty, I've never seen this much money in my life.
But it's also nothing compared to what the bank has bled from us. No time for idle thoughts, folks. Start filling those bags. We got more than enough to keep us busy. Don't just stand there gawking. What are you thinking about?
Nothing in particular. It's just... This is the first time in my life I've ever wanted money so badly. It feels new and exciting.
And that is where we're gonna leave off for today. I know this is right before the final stage of this side story plus the cutscene that comes after probably. But considering that, like I said at the beginning, in part 1 I will be probably including both, at least Jessica's operator record, because again I feel like that is gonna be another epilogue to the epilogue to the whole thing. The next episode will be already chunky, so let's leave that one for next time. And plus, if the other 2 operator records have any kind of correlation to what is going on here, that episode might even be longer, but we'll see. Hopefully not, for my throat's sake. But anyway, thank you very much for listening and watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider leaving a like on it. It would help me out a lot. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Would help a lot as well, of course. And if you want to support me and my work more directly, there are memberships on the channel as well. But like I always say, there will be no video behind a membership, so it is pretty much just purely there if you want to support me and my work more directly. So thank you very much to the members that are there as well, of course, and have a good one. Hope you have a fantastic day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next part. Until then, bye bye.